And we are live.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gathering ParaCast. My name is Heidi,
And I'm Stephanie, and welcome to another Wednesday.
and we're sitting around the metaphysical table. So thanks for joining
Are.
us tonight.
We are. Yes.
Very exciting.
How are you?
Busy,
Busy.
because that's how it goes.
I know.
I have a funny story to share, but I don't want to jump right into it. How are you doing?
I'm good. We were talking before the show about how I've just been, and it's winter. I understand this, but it's like at night after dinner, all I want to do is sit on the couch and watch TV lately. And I think partly is because there's so many good old TV shows that are streaming on my, on my Amazon Fire Stick. It's like, oh my God. Anyway,
Well,
we have to get over that.
I also think that too, because of the season that we're
tired.
in, it really is natural for us to hibernate.
Yep.
And go within. So by February, if we haven't settled down, it's almost like there's this internal like slowdown that just, and there's not a lot going on in February, especially, for humans. In February, we really start to,
it's true.
We kind of, all the holidays and everything are past. Yep. Spring isn't here yet. And February just seems to kind of slow down. And so I think
good.
I
mean, it does feel good, but.
And then something speed up, like work. And here I go.
I know. I know. Lots going on.
Yeah. So I have to tell this story quick.
Yes, please.
This story happened. So this was last Thursday. We had our Paranormal 102 class in Anoka. And I love going to Anoka because there's always something that happens.
Yep. Crazy.
So we had a smaller group for the class, which was great because smaller groups, sometimes we have new stuff happen, more activity, whatever. And that proved to be the case again this time. Mm-hmm. So we ended up staying in this one room because there was this weird surge of energy that kept coming through and affecting every piece of equipment we had set up.
What do you think it was?
I don't know. It has never happened in that building. Okay. I've investigated that building 40 times at least.
My. Okay.
So I don't know why it would come through, and it happened quite a few times. And then we would ask for it to happen, and it would happen on cue.
Oh.
It affected every piece of equipment. Like it sounded like the equipment was going to burn out. It was heightened and intensified to the point where I thought all the equipment could get wrecked. Yeah. That's how intense it was.
Bizarre.
That's not what the story is about, though. So this is so funny. So we had a couple of folks in the group. That one had her birthday that night. It was her birthday that day. And she's like, this was my birthday present to myself as to do paranormal. I'm like, that's so cool. And someone else said it was just her birthday a couple days before. So we decided to sing happy birthday. And that was all good because we thought, well, hey, if there's any spirits here, maybe they'll want to sing with us.
Yeah.
And I had a spirit box set up and, nothing happened there. Okay, fine. So throughout the night, I was digging for more, trigger items. Yeah. Right. I keep any paranormal investigator probably has a handful of trigger items. Yep. So I pull a couple and I was digging through and I found, don't ask me why, long story. Doesn't have to happen tonight. A pouch of smoked tuna.
Oh,
right. Like the kind that you get at the grocery store and you tear it open and you just eat it out of the bag. Okay. It's been in there for a while because I'm not going to eat it on an investigation. Like that's weird.
Yeah.
But I always use it for a trigger item to say, if you want me to open this, because you never know what smell could be enticing, right?
Could be.
So I'm like, hey, if you do something big, I'll open this. And you can, if this is something you want to smell. Nothing's ever happened So I put it out. I said, let's see. If anybody wants me to open this, you have to say happy birthday.
Yeah.
And I'll open it.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking easy win, right? So I set it down. Nothing's happening. And someone in the group said, you have to eat it. And I was like, sure, fine. I'll eat it. I'll eat some. But they have to say happy birthday and it has to be clear.
Yeah. The spirits.
Yeah. Through the spirit box, they have to say happy birthday. Yeah. And what are the odds? It's never happened before that something like that.
Didn't it?
I gave them until 9:15. I put a deadline on this. I'm like, we have to be done at 9:30. You have to say it by 9:15 or we're done. Not any kind of whatever. So I'm looking at the clock, 9:10. I'm looking at the clock, 9:11. And everybody's like, oh, you're really counting this down. I'm like, heck yeah, I'm done at 9:15. I'm not 9:14 and 50 seconds. And this little voice comes through really quick and kind of a weird voice and says, happy birthday. And I was like,
so then you had to eat it.
no.
Gross.
I'm like, no.
Did you get sick? Did you get sick?
No, but I didn't have anything to eat it with, so I had to eat it with my hands.
Oh.
So you get the smell, and I was like, God, man.
No.
But I heard it, and I was completely in denial. I said, I think I heard happy, and everybody's just rolling, right?
Oh my God.
They're like, no, we heard happy birthday. And I knew I heard happy birthday, but I thought, no, maybe they missed it. And I was just instantly like, my stomach dropped, and I thought, oh my God, I got to open this, and then I got to eat some. I'm like, this is terrible.
Ishta.
But
Ishta.
think about the intelligence and the thoughtfulness that has to go in to someone waiting until there's 10 seconds left
to say it
on the clock.
Yeah.
Literally
maybe
10
they
seconds
just couldn't
left.
find up enough, power to do it. Energy. Or they just did it to
Sure.
get your goat.
Sure, fine. No,
Yeah.
I think it was more that there was intelligence
They were
around
because they thought you
I
thought
thought
you
I was
had
in
it
the
in
clear.
you were in the clear. Yeah, exactly.
I totally thought I was in the clear. I was
And
like,
then,
this is money, man. I'm done.
yeah.
10 seconds left. And this little funny voice comes through.
Happy birthday.
I was like, happy birthday.
Oh my.
And I went, no. So yeah, I had to eat it. And everybody was just rolling. They thought, frankly, one of the best classes we had.
But good for you that you did it, because I would have said, I am not.
Well, here's the deal.
That.
You don't make promises you can't keep.
I know, but I probably would have
going,
never made that.
If we're going back to that school to investigate,
Yeah.
they'll know me.
Oh, they will.
And anything I say, they will not trust me.
Well, that's true.
So I didn't eat a lot of it.
No.
I'm not going to eat the whole bag.
No.
I never said how much I was going to eat.
No.
But I ate enough to make it like I did it. Thankfully, those things last, like they're supposed to last like 5 years or something. And so it was only like a year.
Gross. That's all I'm saying is gross.
It was not pleasant.
So before we go on to the next thing, we want to introduce Karla from the International Owl Center.
Yes.
Karla, I'm sorry. We should have introduced you right off the bat. And still chatted,
We can chat.
Every week we pull a card from an oracle deck, Karla. So we have to do that. So we will see what's in. Usually the read is pretty good.
It's usually pretty good. So this is for anybody listening. If you choose to accept whatever this card is all about, you don't have to, but we do like to do this every week.
Yep.
So this week,
it's just fun. Cool.
It is fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think fun. Or it could be meaningful.
And it could be.
So it's Valentine's Day.
It is
Friday.
So we have this lovely deck.
I can only find, I have one. The fact that I have one at all is shocking because I usually don't keep decks like this around. But this is the Romance Angels Oracle.
Ooh,
deck.
romance.
Yeah, it's the only one that I could find that was even close to anything to do with Valentine's Day. So I pulled it out. So we're going to pull a card from this deck. Do whatever you want with this or not. It's up to you.
It's the lovey deck.
It is the lovey-dovey deck. And it doesn't mean, like, you can interpret this to be, unconditional love of self. It could be relationships outside of a romantic relationship. You can interpret this a bunch of different ways.
Right. All right. So ready?
Whenever you're ready. I've shuffled it. You saw I shuffled it.
I did.
Before.
You shuffled it really good at first.
So
I think right now.
Okay. There you go. So here is the top card, and Steph can give you a bird's eye view of it here. All right. So, this one it's called Flirt.
Oh.
And it says extend your lighthearted energy to others. Well, that applies to anybody.
It does.
That doesn't have to. Okay.
I like that.
I think that's fun. Let me find the full, and I won't read the whole thing, but that's kind of fun. So a little bit of information on this card. It's just saying they guide you to initiate flirtatiousness.
Ooh.
Smiling with your eyes as you connect with others. It doesn't necessarily involve sexuality, although it can. Flirting is playful in nature, and playful is the heart of romance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a relationship, flirting with your partner can revive passion. If you're single, this activity can attract new relationships. And I would think too, especially in a unique way, it can be friendships too.
Yep.
There's some fun playfulness with friendships.
Absolutely.
So, it's just about making more eye contact with others that helps you connect with people in a new way, especially if you smile and say hello. Everyone you meet is a potential friend. Now, let me just put a little disclaimer on this. Be mindful of your surroundings and any kind of intuitive, don't engage with that person.
No, don't do
be
it.
Be smart about some of this. But it's just maybe with people that you already have in your life just to engage a little bit more playfulness. I think that sounds great.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay.
I like it. I like it for Valentine's
That's all
week.
we're doing for Valentine's
And of
Day.
course, for Valentine's week, it always makes me think of Mama and Papa, all who have loved each other for so many years.
Here we go. Segue.
Because we have Karla here from the International Owl Center. How are you, Karla?
Doing very well. How about you?
Good.
We're excited to have you here.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. So you've got a lot of things happening down there in the next month.
Yes. Right now, although it's slow for humans, this is a busy for owl time. So right now, late winter is when great horned owls are gearing up for nesting. So most of them have probably either laid eggs or are imminent for laying eggs. They're our first bird to nest every year in Minnesota and the Midwest, and probably elsewhere in the country too. So we celebrate an International Festival of Owls in early March as a hatch day party for Alice the Great Horned Owl, who's the owl that started everything in Houston and kind of ripples around the world over the years. She'll be 28 years old this year.
Oh my.
Right. And it works well for us because when we're slow with visitors in the winter, that gives us more time to be planning for the Festival of Owls. And this time of year, we're kind of, us humans are like, how much longer is winter?
I'm dying. Yes.
People that love winter. But a whole lot of us are, dying to have nicer weather, get outside, do something. So when we're doing the festival in early March, everybody's like, yes, there's finally something to do. So we tend to get fairly good attendance coming, but we do like everything owl. So people always say, well, could you just tell me what you do for the festival? I always direct them to the website because the festival actually has its own entire website because there's so much stuff. So it's
really?
Everything you could imagine with owls and then some. So we have our live owls, of course. The Illinois Raptor Center brings in live owls and they have a live snowy owl. So that's extremely popular. They do live owl programs. We sort of take over the whole entire town of Houston. There's no way we could manage everybody at the Owl Center. So we use the whole entire high school. That's where we have the large owl programs because we'll have, 400 plus people at those sometimes. And then we have Nest Box Building. The Boy Scouts lead the Nest Box Building on Saturday and Sunday. We have owl pellet dissection. There's owl face painting. There are owl crafts. There's vendors selling all kinds of owl themed things. And then we present the World Owl Hall of Fame Awards. So these are like top owl people from around the world. This year, our keynote speaker is from Colorado, so from the United States, Scott Rashid from the Colorado Avian Rehabilitation and Research Institute, if I got that all right. He'll be our keynote on Saturday night. Our other Hall of Fame award winner is Rudolf Schaff from Germany. He is unable to attend in person, so we'll have a video presentation. Really interesting because it's a whole lot of cultural stuff from all around the world. That we'll be showing from them. And everything should be working out for Raju Akaria to come from Nepal again.
Oh, so really?
This will be his second visit. He came, I think, in 2012, 2010, 2012.
Wow.
The World Owl Hall of Fame Award. And he went back to Nepal. This guy is like owl dynamo, just everything owl. And the stuff he can put together and the stuff he's got going on in Nepal is just amazing. And he started a sister festival in Nepal. So they, this last weekend, had the Nepal Owl Festival.
That's awesome. Cool. That is really cool. And that's the weekend of the 7th, 8th, and 9th, right?
Correct. March 7th.
I'm going to see if I can get down there because I would really like to come. And I think that weekend might be okay on my calendar, but we'll see. But yeah, because that'd be so fun for sure. If I get down there, I will find you.
Yes, I'll be running around like a chicken with my head cut off.
Yeah.
And then we do bus trips also. So there's an owl prowl on Friday night. There's a birding, natural history, and geology bus trip. And what all else do we have? I'm sure there's stuff that I'm forgetting. The Children's International Owl Art Contest, which has sort of taken on its own life. So
I remember you telling us about that last year and how many entries there ended up being.
Yeah. So we started it in 2003 as kind of a a local kids coloring contest, and it has morphed into this highly competitive international competition. So usually we get 2,000 to 4,000 entries from 30 to 50 different countries. And they're amazing. So one of my jobs today was working on getting some of the art ready. We pick 20 of them each year to make into a set of greeting cards. And I have some of the art here if you want to see them.
Awesome.
Yay.
Are really big. Hold on just a sec.
Yeah. Let's see them. So we have a whole lot of people in the chat room. So we'll just kind of go down the list. Jerry, of course, is there. Hi, Jerry. We have Carolyn who's saying hi, Karla. Pri who's saying hi, Karla.
Oh, here's a piece of art. Look at that.
Oh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
That's
awesome. Gorgeous.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love it. And
Wow.
that's going to be a card?
That's way bigger than I thought it would be.
Yeah. I was thinking small.
Oh my
gosh. That is awesome.
Wait, who's making this art?
This is Kit. So this one
Stop it. Stop.
is an 11-year-old from Thailand.
Oh my gosh.
Get out of town.
That's crazy.
This
Beautiful
talent,
work.
for sure.
Yes.
16-year-old from Korea.
Wow.
Goodness.
Oh, these are always popular. 15-year-old from Taiwan.
Oh, wow.
Great horns. My favorite. Gorgeous.
Wow.
That is so
16-year-old
awesome.
from Taiwan.
Oh, that's cool. I love that. I would like to hang that on my wall.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you do with these after the show? Do you send them back to them or?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Well, since we get over 2,000 a year, it's.
Oh, you can't send them back. So do you sell them then, or what do you do with them?
All the winners and then 100 or so of the staff favorites stay on display at the Owl Center for a year till the next Owl Festival. So we'll swap these out somewhere in the end of February. And then after that, well, some of them will be for sale for like $20 a piece, a $20 donation at the Owl Festival. And then some of the higher end ones we may auction, or some we keep forever. So we kind of have our forever collection.
Wow.
And some will donate to other fundraisers. So if another nonprofit contacts us and asks if we'll donate something to a fundraiser, usually it's a piece of nice children's owl artwork from somewhere in the world, with some free admission tickets to the Owl Center. Our stipulation is you have to be able to come pick it up.
Yes.
Because we usually use the big ones for that, because those are the nice ones.
Wow.
They are beautiful. Oh my gosh.
Right?
Kids.
That's awesome.
Kids.
So talented.
Oh, yes. My goodness.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh, they're saying that not long ago, the Owl Center auctioned art by children from Ukraine and donated.
Oh, I remember that. You telling us that you got a whole pile of money for the Ukraine.
That's great.
$250,000 we raised.
That $250,000. That's wild. Out of sight.
That's great. That's so good.
That is so good. Oh, so exciting.
Good. Well, so what we love now, we don't have to talk about this for long, but just for those of you who are tuning in to our show, and this is the Gathering ParaCast. We talk about paranormal, metaphysical, spiritual, all these things. Why do we have someone from the International Owl Center on our show? We've had Karla on our show before.
Yes.
Fascinating.
We love
Absolutely
her.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Because Steph and I also do cryptid research.
We do.
And one of the things that we find often in the field of cryptid research is misidentification.
Yes.
Through vocalizations.
Yes.
So vocalizations that people hear out in the woods, and there's a lot of them, right? There's so many things that people think, oh, it's a cryptid, it's a cryptid, it's a cryptid. Yeah. And some of the discoveries we found just in getting to know Karla is that these could be owls.
Absolutely.
In some cases.
Absolutely.
Because you think you wouldn't think it's an owl. Some of these.
No.
So
bone chilling, curl the toenail kind of sounds.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's really fascinating to have you on our show just with that kind of connection. But we also love celebrating the Owl Center and hearing all the good work that you're doing, that the community is doing for the owls, and just kind of keeping up to date on what's going on in that neck of the woods. So,
well, and we love owls. I mean, owls are one of my spirit animals, probably the most powerful one. And they're supernatural beings too. So, but we do this. We talk about animals, and
Mhm.
owls are one of our favorites. Eagles.
Spirit animals are
Yes.
definitely something near and dear to our hearts. So we
Mhm.
love talking about animals on the show as
Mhm.
well. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So this is why. But yeah, so we love the owls. But yeah, so debunking is we talked the last time you were on, Karla, you sent us like 20 clips of different owls, and it was so cool.
It was.
If anybody wants to listen to that, if there's any cryptid researchers out there, which I'm sure there are in Cryptovania, you can go to our podcast on Podbean and you'll find the last, I think it was in August maybe of last year.
Mhm.
We can put it on again. I'll put a link on the webpage for it, but it was awesome and quite enlightening. And because they say Sasquatch makes the scream, and so many of these owls have just bone chilling screams too in the dark in the night.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun one to do, to put together, because when you learn owl calls, usually they teach you the primary call they make. Well, they
Yeah.
have huge repertoires of other calls that good luck trying to find reference material for that online.
Mhm.
And some of these you would never think it came out of an owl. It's
Oh
just
no.
Well, and that's what you were saying on one of our past shows too, is the amount of searching that you had to do to try and figure out, like, what is this owl? What's this reason that it's making this noise? And there's like nothing out there, is what you've told us, that there's
Yeah.
hardly anything out there based on all the different vocalizations one type of owl could make.
Yeah.
right. The full vocal repertoire work hasn't been done for a lot of species.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to ask you. So can you make the call that might be the most chilling in the woods?
Well, if the microphone doesn't cut out, because I know when we try and do it in Zoom, it will always clip it, so you can't. You can see my lips move. So the barred owl does kind of this whistle shriek thing. So it's increasing, super high in pitch, and every individual can be slightly different. But very typically, you'll have to tell me if this actually comes through or not. It's kind of a, and then it did?
It did, just a tidge.
Hallelujah. And then it usually, after that, is followed by two really long hook hooks for you all. So, ooh, 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 ooh. But I've recorded some that do ooh, kind of this really high-pitched wavering thing, or they'll do ooh, 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 and then they'll go into the hoot. Or Pierce, our own barred owl, he kind of sounds like an opera singer sometimes. So I mean, it sounds like a human opera singer sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you hear that in the woods and you'd
You do.
never think.
Well, and you get
it was an
scared,
owl.
right? I mean, even if you don't think it's Sasquatch, it's like terrifying.
Something is
Yes.
out there that is unidentified. If you don't know, I wouldn't know.
Sounds like a
Well, I didn't know either until we started doing this all
Well,
those
right.
years ago.
Nowadays, I'm
Yeah.
out. If I hear anything, I'm already, it's an owl.
Yeah.
It's got to be an owl,
Right.
because there's so many weird sounds they make. So it
Gosh.
probably is an owl.
Yeah.
And then I get eaten by a mountain lion because I thought it was an owl or something. Whoops.
Well, and Karla, you really know the sounds that other animals make too, because I think I sent you a clip of something that someone had sent me, and I had sent them a note back. They said, "Oh, this has got to be Bigfoot. It's up by Reamer and what they call the home of Bigfoot, and we're certain it was Bigfoot." And I listened to it, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's an owl. I thought it was an owl. Now you thought it was something else, a coyote or something.
I don't remember off the top.
I don't remember either, but I found a clip of one of the owls, and I think it might have been a screech owl or a barred owl. I don't know, but it kind of sounded really close. And then I never heard from him again. And then, it's fun because people get, they just want validation, right? They don't want you to tell them, no, that's not what it is. I did see them. They did come to Bigfoot Days, and I said, "Oh, I thought maybe you were mad at me because, I debunked." "Oh, no." And I'm like, "Well, I never heard from you again. I didn't." So always good to know these things. But
so, yeah, there's a question in the chat
Yeah.
room asking if there's an owl calling contest at the Owl Festival.
Yes, there is an owl calling contest, but we just do it for kids because adults are too chicken to do owl calls for the most part.
Oh, really?
Oh, adults very rarely will do it. But it's just for kids. And some of these kids are really, really, really good.
Wow.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's got to be fun.
It is,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. The only
Sounds
time
People,
I've done an owl calling contest with adults is at the World Owl Conference that we held the fall of 2023. So these are like owl researchers from around the world. That was really awesome.
Oh,
that would be
yeah.
impressive.
So we
Very
made them do a
impressive.
repertoire, not just one call. They had to do a repertoire of 3 different calls.
Oh, wow. Did you do it?
Well, no, I was organizing the conference. That would have been fair. And then our staff member, Joe Severson, who is renowned for owl calls, was one of the judges.
Got it. So you guys have to just enjoy the contest. Curious, does anybody dress up like an owl?
Sometimes for the Owl Festival, we sometimes get people dressing up like owls. Well, and then we have a life-size mascot costume, a human.
Well, yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I would hope so. There's a mascot, but people dressing up like owls, I'm curious. Like what
I think
that
would
looks
be
like.
well.
Some of the kids do. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of face
Fun to
makeups,
make a
maybe.
costume.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool, wouldn't it?
The wheels are turning.
Mm.
I like to sew. I like to get crafty.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yes. So I'm gonna try to make that because I think it sounds like so much fun. And I've been down to the center. It's been quite a few years now, but always wanted to get to that contest. So maybe this is the year.
Oh, there you go.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
There you go. So I'm curious, what is the call that is most misidentified when it comes to owls? Like, what would you say is the one that gets mixed up more than anything else?
The juvenile begging call of the great horned owl is very often referred to as a screech owl, because you would assume a screech owl would screech, and generally they don't. But juvenile great horned owls, when they do begging calls, do this obnoxious, and it's very highly variable.
Yeah.
I mean, individually and as they get older over the summer, and they just do it over and
They
over,
do.
over and over, and it's so annoying. So when people say, "Oh yeah, I have a screech owl at my place," and you say, "Okay, what time of year?" And usually it's late summer, early fall, because that's when the kids are calling a lot.
Mhm.
And are they doing it over and over and over again? Yeah. And it's really annoying. That's juvenile great horned owl.
Yeah.
Eastern screech owls do these cute little, it sounds like a little horse up in a tree, kind of a and then they'll also do this real high-pitched trill that they like to put in the background of scary movies, kind of a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Our
I've
other
heard.
staff are better at imitating that than I am.
Oh gosh. No, that's
What about
awesome.
a sound that's outside of the owl species? Like someone says, "Oh, it must be this," and it's an owl. It gets mixed up. Like, what's the most common one? Is there one? Maybe there isn't one.
That they think it's an owl that actually isn't? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like people think it's a coyote, but no, it's an owl.
Morning
Like
doves.
Steph was saying.
Morning doves. People will say, "Oh, I heard an owl and it was hooting all day long."
Yeah.
So it's a morning dove instead of an
Morning
owl.
doves, yeah,
Okay.
because they kind of go hoo, hoo, hoo. Yeah. That's exactly how they sound.
That's what they sound like.
Yeah, and
And that
owls are hoo 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 hoo, and then Papa chimes in and goes hoo hoo hoo.
Okay, Steph.
I know. I've
Settle
listened to my babies all the time. Yeah, but their babies also make those when they're babies. That's what they do. They scream all the time for food, all the time.
Mhm.
You always know where they are in the woods. All you gotta do is follow that sound, and they're there.
And they're saying, "Stuff food in me, Mom, Dad, I'm over here, feed me." And it works because they shove the food in and then the kids usually shut up. I mean,
They do until it's time for the kids to get their own stuff. So then they leave them and then they just keep it up and keep it up and keep it up. And it's like, oh my God.
Obnoxious.
Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Yes. So one of the comments was they were surprised that the owls are nesting already. And yeah, my girl has been in her nest for a couple of weeks already, and she's not in the woods this year. She's in the woods, just not in my woods. She's behind where I live. They have like big square areas where in the middle of, there's houses around each side and there's like a whole bunch of woods in the middle, and it's across the street from the regional park where I always see them. And that's where she is. So, I don't want to sit there and gawk at these people's yards, right? I do. I will go by there and I'll look. But she's a little hard to find or hard to see because, there's houses and there's a house in the way. Jerry actually knows somebody who lives there. So I'm telling him, please go over there and ask him if I can have access to their yard. I got to see the mama, But yeah, so she's been in there she has nested over there before. But won't get an up close and personal look at her this year, I guess, which is really sad. But it's nice to know they're okay. I see Pop a lot because he's still flying around. So
are there eggs though right now?
I believe there are. She's in an old squirrel's nest, which I always think is hysterical because it seems really small to me, but she knows best, right?
Yeah, well, sometimes the squirrel's nests don't hold up that well.
Cool. And she did this a few years back too, and one of the babies fell out, and the Raptor Center came and put a beautiful nest in there for them, and they loved it. The baby was fine, but then the park took it down. I like, why? She loved that nest, Well, we shouldn't have to help her. And I'm like, excuse me, people love her, Anyway, politics, Karla. Politics.
There are politics around owls, yes.
So tell us about one of the things I also wanted to talk about was this new owl center. You've been, buying property parcels so that you can build a new owl center. So tell us a little bit about that, because I was on the website. It was either yesterday or the day before, getting ready for the show. It is magnificent. I cannot wait till it's done, and I can't wait to experience it.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic for the owls, for visitors, for staff. And basically the walkthrough aviaries that we're going to build will set a new gold standard in the US for owl aviaries, because they're modeled after some that were designed in Germany back in the 1980s by Wolfgang Schertzinger. And basically you walk through the side of the aviary and you've got, kind of this viewing window, except there's nothing there. There's nothing between you and the owls that are living free in this really large vegetated aviary. And the aviary is designed so the owls don't want to come where the people are. So you can never put a human imprinted owl in there. It has to be an owl that knows it's an owl. But based on the design and knowing owl instincts, they don't come where the people are. So you can have this amazing experience where there's nothing between you and these free birds in there. So we'll have 6 walkthrough aviaries for the owls that are native to our area. We'll have attached aviaries to the building that are 2 parts. One part of each set of aviaries would be climate controlled. So we can have things like snowy owls, great gray owls, or more tropical things like a spectacled owl, things that are not really adapted to our climate here in Southeast Minnesota. So we have 4 of those. And then we will also have a set of 8 individual aviaries right off our office area for our program birds. So those are the birds we want to keep very well socialized with humans. So literally, as we sit in our offices, our windows will look right into their aviaries. So the human and feathered staff stay very, very well socialized. And then we'll have 2 program rooms, a very large one for the general public, another one that can be used for groups. So right now we only have 1 program space. So we're closed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so we can do group programs both on-site and off-site, because we can't do that when we're open to the public right now. And then we'll have our prep room where we gut the food that we're feeding to the animals and do other things. We'll have a window in there so you can watch us prepping owl food if you would like. There'll be a kids room. There'll be what we're calling an evening room, where it's kind of like a maze of a room that you would go through, darkened. And as you walk through, you'll cross a trigger, and then a light will come on a mounted owl, say a barred owl, and you'll hear the call of a barred owl with the sound focused down right where you're standing. So it doesn't broadcast in the whole room. And then as you walk a little farther, you'll trigger another light to come on a different species, and you'll hear that. So kind of simulate walking through the woods and experiencing owls in the evening. So that's
awesome.
That's super cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, it helps you learn
Yes.
Like what you're hearing with what it is. That's handy.
It is.
That's fun.
It is absolutely wonderful.
Should be fun. And then one other thing that we're integrating right across from our program rooms, we're going to have a calming room. So for kids or adults that need to have a quiet space to be away from stimulation, calm down, or nursing mothers, and then have a live video feed of any existing program going on in there so they're not missing out on the program either.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Out of everything. I mean, it's just going to be fabulous. So one of the questions are any timeline for groundbreaking on the new center?
Groundbreaking depends on fundraising. So that we're in the capital campaign phase. We own all the properties. We were able to, I think in December, we finished taking down all the structures that are on the property. Yay!
Yay!
A whole pile of old buildings to manage there anymore. So the site is cleared. So it's just all about when the funds come in. And then we need to do we have our concept drawings, which you can see on our website, and really awesome walkthrough video. So you actually see what it's like going through there, the basics of what it would be like going through there. So once we get far enough along, then basically we need to do the blueprints where these are the construction drawings. And they said that'll take about 6 months and then about a year for construction of everything.
The groundbreaking. So everyone watching, let's donate to the International Owl Center so we get this done.
We do have naming opportunities. So for large enough donations, you can have an aviary with your name on it, or several of the rooms have already been claimed. I think one of the 2-part aviaries is spoken for. The director's office, my dad sponsored, so that's covered already. And
yeah.
Tech room, we have somebody that's spoken for that one. So anyway, some of the rooms are getting spoken for. So if you're interested, jump in on that. And,
that's cool.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting. You know, because the Owl Center now is in an old storefront, right? In uptown.
Both.
Houston. Yeah. And it's cool. You know, the owls are there, right? I remember meeting Alice back in the day. Does she still go there every day?
She hasn't gone to work for several years. She's a retired lady. She's going to be 28 now. She's thinking about laying an egg, and if that's going to happen at this age.
And she lives at your house.
Yeah, you might hear her hooting in the background because she can hear me talking to somebody else, which heaven forbid that's an intruder in her territory.
Oh, yes. Oh, for sure.
Can you imagine having an owl living in your house?
I know. Isn't that nuts? I would love it.
But, I mean, she has her own room and she's got her own weathering area. So she's got her own space that she lives in. But,
oh, good.
Yeah.
I think for all the people who haven't heard you on our show before, you need to tell the story of Alice because I think it's such a good one.
Well, she fell out of her nest back in 1997 when she was around 3 weeks old. Her nest was at 503 Hogan Street, Antigo, Wisconsin. And the people who lived there found her in her yard as a baby. And Marge Gibson from the Raptor Education Group in Antigo went and picked her up. They did x-rays, realized she messed up her left elbow, the humerus right at the growth plate. So they knew her elbow was never going to be all right. She was never going to be able to live in the wild. So she was socialized around humans to be an education bird. I was looking for an education bird in 1998 as we were starting to develop the Houston Nature Center as a trailhead for the Root River Trail in Houston. So if you don't know, Houston has a population of less than 1,000 people. So the only reason we have a nature center is to serve as a trailhead. So it was about tourism as well as environmental education. So I got Alice in 1998, started doing programs with her. The center was built, the Houston Nature Center was built in 2001. And that's kind of when I started thinking, well, how do we do more with tourism and environmental education, and came up with the idea of doing a hatch day party for Alice that turned into the International Festival of Owls. And so her life has all these little ripples all over the world. So because of Alice, we have an International Festival of Owls. We have a World Owl Hall of Fame. Those things wouldn't be there. I am married to my husband because of Alice. I met him at an owl conference where I was presenting great horned owl vocal research. You know, there probably wouldn't be a Nepal Owl Festival if Alice hadn't been around, and you know all these other owl festivals that are starting in North America. You know, I assume they looked at what we were doing, and there's been owl festivals in India and Italy also modeled after ours and adapted for their countries. And yeah,
Mhm.
in the first vocal study on the species because of Alice. And
Alice is just,
Wow. She started
she's
it
the
all.
girl. She's the girl for sure.
she's not a random owl. She's kind of
No,
impact on the world.
She's the owl.
she is the owl. Yeah. Talk about girl power.
She has her own Facebook page.
Yes.
Oh, she does?
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to have to friend her.
Yes. Yes.
Or follow her or whatever.
Follow her,
She's too
yeah.
famous for friends or something, maybe. So I'll follow her.
That's so awesome. I love it. Now, one of the things that we were kind of texting about before the show was the Raptor Center had put out a post today on Facebook about how many owls are migrating down here from Canada because of maybe lack of food, or there was too many people up there. They're asking for people to be careful about them. But what do you know about this? And they're calling it an eruption, right? It's really a migration.
Mm-hmm. So owls do all kinds of things. So we know about migration, regular movements from usually north to south. So, and owls do everything depending on the species. Everything when it comes to owls depends on the species. So saw-whet owls would be our regularly migratory owl here. Snowy owls, some of these northern ones like snowy owls, great gray owls, hawk owls, boreal owls can be somewhat nomadic, a little bit migratory, but also eruptive. So not erupt like a volcano, erupt, IRRUPTION. And that just means it's in a regular influx, not on any regular schedule. Some years there's a bunch, some years there's not many. So this is sort of a moderate eruption that's happening for some of the northern owl species this year. Now, like the most insane eruption for great gray owls ever was in recent, well, in the past many decades anyway, was 2004 to 2005. They figured about 4,000 great horned owls came just to the state of Minnesota.
Wow.
And 1,000 were hit by cars. So these are owls that, a lot of these northern ones are not used to being around people. They don't know that they need to be afraid of people. And great grays very often will hunt along roads. They'll often perch low on fence posts and things like that. Sometimes you'll see pictures of them landing on a photographer's lens or their car. They're just kind of around people, and they're slow light flyers. They have amazing hearing. So they hunt by hearing. So they've got this gigantic head and huge facial disc for focusing sound. And they're North America's tallest owl, but they're only the third heaviest because they're just poof. It's like really big hair. So they got their head like this.
Big hair syndrome.
Like this. But they will hear their prey, which is almost always voles, under snow, up to 2 feet of snow, and they hear it. So imagine that hearing from a distance. Fly out over it because sound refracts in snow like light refracts in water. Like if you're looking at a fish at an angle in water, it's going to be not where it looks like it is. So same with hearing. So great gray owls have to fly directly over their prey. They hover for a little bit and then plunge dive and just punch through the snow, kind of their face and their feet, and grab that vole underneath the snow. So they have this amazing hearing. But they are very prone to getting hit by cars, unfortunately. So you do need to be really careful when you're around great gray owls. So like in northern Minnesota is where they typically are.
Yeah, and that was the they said they've admitted 9. I think it was the great grays already this year, and usually they have 3 for the whole year. So they're asking people to be careful and to watch for them, because owls too, right? They can't move their eyes this way. I mean, they move their eyes, but they can't move their heads, right? No,
they move their heads.
I got it all wrong. They can't move.
Yep. So the owls have really large eyeballs for the size of their head. So their head, for like a great horned owl, if you took one of the eyeballs out and the brain out, the brain is about the size of one eyeball. So they're eyeballs, and their eyes are pinched into tubes. So all birds have bony rings called sclerotic rings. So they have a ring of bones that are basically in the eyeball, but they make up the sides. They pinch it into a tube. And if you look in an owl's ear, you actually see the side of the eyeball where those bones are covered by the outer membrane. So they're just like eyeballs. But because they're shaped like that, they don't move in their skulls. Yeah. So they have a narrower field of view than we do. We have a wider field of view than an owl does. It's very forward facing. It's not straight forward, but it's quite a bit. So when they're focused on that vole on the other side of the road, they don't see that car that's coming at them. And if they're going to catch that prey, you can't glance away because you lost your hearing and you lost your vision. You have to keep focused on your prey. So as they're flying across the road, there's no awareness of what's going on either side. So they're very prone, especially flying low and hunting long distance, for getting hit by cars.
Yes. So be mindful of that, especially here in Minnesota, because apparently there's quite a few. And the snowy owls, Karla, I heard news stories about snowy owls at the airport, at MSP airport, because they think it reminds them of the tundra, right?
Yep. Snowy owls do like to go to airports because it looks like home. It's flat and it's treeless and the grass is short. I mean, it's just great, right? Other than these giant jets that are super loud. I don't understand how you can be a snowy owl and sit right next to a runway and sleep with jets coming. In. And they don't have, some owls have ear flaps so they can like cover up the hole that's their ear because they have really huge ear holes. Snowy owls don't. I have no concept.
How do they do that?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
It's probably a small price to pay to be at home, I guess.
I don't know.
Wow.
But they're snowy owls are beautiful owls. I saw one once actually at the same park that Mama and Papa are usually in. And they are gorgeous. I know I was just telling you, I kind of thought maybe I'd tootle on down to the airport this weekend with my long lens and see if I could get any pictures. But because that would be so awesome. But yeah, so that'd be weird to get a picture of a snowy owl and a jet in the same frame.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's possible now.
Owls and jets, it's not good to have them together.
No.
Bad. Yeah.
Very dangerous.
So sometimes they will have professional folks come in and trap and relocate snowy owls to a different location because an owl doesn't need to, it's not good for the owl to get sucked into a jet, and it's not good.
Exactly.
Right. So sometimes they're relocated too. So Norm Smith out at Logan Airport in Boston has been doing that for
years,
more than 30 years or something, and doing research along with capturing the owls and relocating.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Not a good combo.
No. So, oh my gosh.
Wow. All sorts of good stuff.
I know. I love it. And this hour has went by so fast. Karla, tell us what your website is for people who want to come and visit you on the web.
It's internationalowlcenter.org. But if you type in Owl Center, it'll pop up pretty easy. And then from that, it'll link to the festival website, which is festivalofowls.com, or we also have an online store, owlcenterstore.org. So they kind of all, if you go to the main one, you'll find the other ones. And you'll find other things too. So if people are watching owls, we do have a section on our website for Owls and Us, or Owls and Humans, about how to respectfully observe owls, to make sure to actually learn their behavior and their body language. So if you're stressing them, because every owl in every situation is totally different. There are no rules when it comes to this. Every owl is different. So you can go in there and find out what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, how to tell if you're stressing the owl, how to tell if the owl is relaxed. So it's a lot of really great information, because 99% of people that are out watching owls want to be very respectful of the birds. I mean, there's a few that are like, hey, I want the shot, I don't care, but most people care and want to make sure they're being respectful.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah, it is for sure. So if you go out there, order a t-shirt, because the proceeds will help to fund the new center, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's the nice thing. I own boatloads of owl stuff, as you can see, but when you buy stuff from the International Owl Center online store, you can feel good about buying owl gear because it's supporting owls and owl education and the new owl center and everything. So yeah.
Yes. And I think you have a live cam in there too somewhere, right? I can't remember who it was on yesterday when I looked at it.
Yep. We have a live YouTube channel that live streams Iris, the great horned owl. So she's part of our breeding project got her in 2010 to study their vocalizations. Rusty, her mate, passed away a couple of years ago, but so there's so much regulation and permitting that goes on around them. It's not like we can just get another owl and move
right.
So she lives as a single, but she certainly does interact with the wild ones vocally, and you can hear all of our other owls hooting on there too. And you can hear Pierce the barred owl.
Yeah.
Hormones are raging. Anytime I go near his aviary, he's going, wah, 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 woo-hoo, woo, woo, woo. He's just going nuts. And then he gets Uhu, the Eurasian eagle owl, going because barred owl contact calls are kind of a ooh, which is similar to the barred owl. Ooh. So the two different species will talk to each other, but you can hear that on the live cam.
Oh my God, that's funny.
I know. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Tis the season.
It is the season. It is that season.
It is. It's the season for love.
It is the season for love.
Flirting. Right.
Well, and one of the comments early on was that the owls are flirting now, right? Getting ready to have nests, or mate or whatever, But now a lot of the owls mate for life, right? Like I know my two owls have been together forever.
So the ones that are resident on territory year round, so things like great horned owls, barred owls, eastern screech owls, they tend to be the ones that we think of mating for life. It's not always so.
No, not always.
We had a male that his mate died, and then he started flirting with the neighbor females who already had mates, and then the female next door over here left her mate for him.
Oh my, it's scandalous. So, it's scandalous.
Like that can happen. But the owls that are migratory or nomadic, they stay together for a season, not necessarily multiple seasons.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow, the scandal at the Owl Center. Who knew?
I know, right? Oh
my!
My!
You can get thruples also, where occasionally you'll get one male and two females nesting together. Very uncommon, but it can happen. So with owls, there's not much for rules. Like they're rule breakers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it. Who knew? Who knew?
That's great.
Well, my pair, they're just old fashioned, I guess, because they've been together. So how long do great horned owls live, Karla? Because these two have been a part of my life for a couple decades. And I know it's the same ones. I have pictures from 20 years ago, right?
So what we know from band recoveries, so that's the best we can say in the wild. And granted, there's not that many band recoveries these days. I mean, back in the 50s, tons of band recoveries because people shot them. These days, thankfully, people don't, so we don't get as many band recoveries. Maximum lifespan we know from band recoveries is around 28, but there were only a couple that made that. It's not often that a band recovery would come in more than 20 years. The highest band recoveries, which means the most deaths, are the youngest birds, especially that first year of life.
Yeah.
When they make it through the first year of life, then they have better chances.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
28 though, that's impressive.
It is.
That's a good run for an owl. I mean,
for sure. Well, eagles can live really long too, right? They can live
longer. Yep.
Longer than the owls, but yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Oh yeah. So I don't know how old Mama is for sure, but I mean,
she's got to be.
I think she's approaching 20 for sure. It might not be quite 2 decades, but I've been since they opened up the regional park in 2010 for sure. I mean, we used to see them around the house, but in the woods there for like 15 years. So, and she's still having babies, right? Can you imagine being, I can't imagine having babies at my age. So, I mean, just saying. And they do such a good job.
Yeah, great horned owls do have very good success, both with hatching and with fledging. So things like ground nesters, burrowing owls, short-eared owls, snowy owls have much higher mortality. I mean, you got to make a boatload of babies because they're really vulnerable if they're on the ground.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, and she had 4 last year, and they all grew and fledged. Yeah. Yep. Wow. I saw every one of them, and I think it was early September. They were all up in one of the trees, so I know they were fine.
4 is very good for a great horned owl.
4 is, yeah, I've never seen her have 4. Usually 3, sometimes only 2, but 4, I just remember thinking, oh my God, what is going on? But
That's
yeah,
impressive.
Lots of food.
lots of food. So
Good.
well, Karla, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope to see you next month. If I can get down there, I sure am going to try. This has been so fun, and keep us updated, and we'll have you on again,
Yes.
probably in the summer or something. And good luck this year for fundraising. Everybody out there, go to their page, order some T-shirts, or just make a donation.
Yep.
Because it's
Yes.
such
Well,
a worthy cause.
And the other thing people can do too is if they're really into the Owl Center, you can include us in your estate planning. Several people have done that and left us very sizable donations. In the past.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so that's something to consider also.
That's
Like
awesome.
being a beneficiary of an IRA or
Mhm.
a brokerage account or things like that.
Yeah. Oh,
Great.
awesome.
Good idea. Okay.
Well, thank you, Karla. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening. And we had a whole boatload of people in the chat room, so it was very fun.
Yeah.
And thank you.
And everybody listening, we love to have you join us around the metaphysical table. So definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel if you think about it. We'd love to have you stay current with everything that we're doing here. And we're going to be gearing up for a pretty interesting spring and summer. We've got some ideas on getting out and about, doing some on location sites. So we're going to start incorporating that once the weather gets a little better. But thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And Jason Trost, our producer, thanks for pulling this together. You are awesome. And Cryptovania TV for hosting our show.
Yes. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Good night, Karla. Thank you.
Thank you. This is always fun. I appreciate it.